We start now. So, okay, welcome to the fifth webinar. It's been great. We've been doing webinar every week for the last 5 weekends on Saturdays. Thank you for your response and participation so far. I've basically enjoyed every minute, learned a lot while being here. Special thanks to a lot of people who made the conversation rich and lively. People like Manish Chauhan, Deepak, Avinash Soni was there on the call, Satish, Rohit, uh, a lot of other people who have always been active on the group. So thank you for all of you. LK, yeah, who's always been there, Satish Kumar. Thank you all of you who have joined. Ritin Patel, Chitrank, Akansha, Ankita, HP, Jai Purohit. Thank you. So today we speak about portability and its issues, and we will be discussing how does it work, do's and don'ts around it, scenarios, issues. Before I begin, a quick intro on Beshak, which is like a standard ritual. Beshak is a neutral community platform. By neutral, we mean that we don't sell or advertise insurance plans, which helps us keep ourselves super neutral for all the community members who join us, and also keeps our content neutral. We are basically bringing together the best of the most well-meaning folks in the industry, from experts to financial advisors. If you haven't so far added yourself as an advisor in the community, you can now add yourself on the community. There's an interesting news that I want to share all of you who would still not know, because yesterday night we went live with our new homepage, a completely fresh, new, bold and beautiful homepage, if I would have called it. It now has a button to join as an advisor on the top right, which you can click and immediately log in and then sign up as a financial advisor on the platform. We have a lot of things coming your way for people who have onboarded themselves as a financial advisor. Do look at it whenever you have your whenever you find time, and do share feedback, obviously, on through DMs and on various social media websites, including Telegram. The website, basically, what we tried to achieve from the website and the homepage was that we had three major problems that we wanted to solve for. One is that we wanted to clearly communicate that we are 100% neutral and bold. We have no alliances with any insurance platforms or insurance companies. The second was basically that we are totally technology driven. And the third, which is the most important, is that we are a community. A lot of people on the call right now, their photos are also there on the on the on the website, and I'm sure you would love to see that. Okay, so quickly, we are at 11:03. We'll keep this webinar or discussion very tight as usual. Agenda is as follows. I'll take around 15 to 20 minutes to share my learnings, setting context. Obviously, this is not a one-sided lecture. So when I invite, I will basically go through context setting for 15-20 minutes, and then we invite everyone to share their experiences so that all of us learn from each other. Also, one more thing that I wanted to talk about, which is very, very important, and this is something that is important for us and for me specifically, is that we are not here to rant or to comment on things that we cannot change. Okay, there are always going to be things in the industry that we cannot change immediately at the size of the community that we are today. It's very, very difficult for us to make big changes. So I would request everyone, and I would be myself also conscious about this, that we are not here to rant. We are not here to comment about things that we cannot change. The industry is too big, and we are too small right now to change stuff immediately, right? My suggestion would be, let's focus on what we can change, how we can help ourselves, and how we can help our customers or our clients, right? Sorry for the long commentary that I've been talking about, and let's get to the topic of the day, which is portability. A quick context from my side is, before portability came, customers were married to one insurer for their life, right? If the plan was bad, if the insurer was bad, if the experience was bad, customers had no choice whatsoever to move from their existing insurer or insurance plan to any other insurance plan without losing their waiting period. Extremely frustrating experience. I've been there. I've seen this happening. So this has happened. 2011 is when portability got introduced in the country. So it's almost exactly 1 decade on 1st October 2011 when portability actually came into existence. So people rejoiced, advisors rejoiced, financial planners rejoiced, saying that, hey, now we can easily change companies with the credit for waiting periods. Things will be better. Insurance companies will be on their toes, and insurance companies will have to improve their services so that customers don't move, right? But portability is like a divorce actually, and like a divorce, which sounds very you can say it very easily saying divorce, but things are not simple, and they are murky when actually execution happens. I have personally tried to execute a lot of these portabilities in my life and within the organization that I worked, and we ended up promising stuff to our customers, but the kind of stress, the back and forth that I saw was like insane, not worth it. Uh, and then also the fact that, and this is something that we'll discuss, is that IID decided that there is no role for intermediaries in portability, so commission nahi milega pehle saal mein. So because the intermediaries will have no role to play, in fact, which is the reverse, the intermediary's role at the time of portability is even double because he has to interact with three people: the customer, insurer A, and insurer B, right? The nomenclatures that we will use is the old insurer. We can call him the old insurer or the existing insurer, and the insurance company, the new insurance company where the customer is porting will be called the new insurer. So that while we are on an audio call, it doesn't become difficult for us to understand stuff. Next 10 to 12 minutes, I'll talk about basically just, and so that everybody is on the same plane, let's talk about what is portability. Now, portability is obviously transfer of the waiting period and the credits, actually, the transfer of credits gained by an insured for all the pre-existing diseases and any other time-bound exclusions that were there in the previous policy. So normally all health insurance policies have a waiting period for pre-existing diseases. There will be a waiting period for 2 years for some other diseases which are specified illnesses. There will be a 30-day waiting period for illnesses, which is in the first year. All this, when you want to move from one insurer to another insurer before 2011, was not something that you could have done without losing these waiting periods. So, अगर मैंने insurer A से insurer B में move किया from an existing insurer to a new insurer, existing insurer I completed 4 years, and I have now exhausted all my waiting periods. If I have to now move to another insurer before 2011, you had to give away all your waiting period credits that you had and start afresh with new waiting periods for the entire sum insured. In the current context, if you do a proper portability, which is done through the proper process, then the waiting period that you have already served in the previous insurer can be moved to the new insurer up to the sum insured plus bonus that you had in the previous insurance company, right? It includes the bonus. It also includes the sum insured. The waiting period credit is available for these two liabilities of the insurance company. Now, which policies allow portability? Only indemnity-based policies allow portability, right? So indemnity-based health insurance policies will allow portability. The others, which is basically, let's say, the hospital cash kind of a policies, those policies obviously will not have portability. When you can do it, you can basically do it at the time of renewal only, and you can do it around 45 days before the policy is getting expired, right? So you cannot do it more than 60 days before the policy gets expired, and you can have to do it up to 45 days of the policy getting expired. If you are young and you are healthy, insurers want your business, they will even give you for a lesser wait, meaning lesser term, meaning even 10 days before your expiry. If you are like someone who's 25-year-old and young, this is सारे insurance company तुम्हारे पीछे आएंगे, even if it is 5 days, they do not matter because there is hardly any underwriting to be done. So you will get it. But the norm is 45 to 60 days. Who can port? Every group policy holder, including individuals in the family floater policies, if there is a group policy, has the option to basically port themselves to an individual plan, right? Or also a group plan on paper, right? When they can do it, they can either do it when they want to exit, when the product is withdrawn, or when the price has changed and or the product has been modified. So group policy है, 4 साल से चल रही है, अभी प्रीमियम बढ़ गया, and now what's happening is that customer is not happy with the premium. Customer actually can go and tell that same insurer saying that, hey, I'm not happy with this terms and conditions, this premium. I want to transfer my policy to a individual policy. It is something that whatever I'm talking about right now is obviously on paper we are talking about, so that we can then discuss what is the reality on the ground, right? The other is, of course, from individual to individual, from family floater to family floater, from family floater to individual. All this can be done. Uh, what usually would be the process? The usual process would be कि renewal होने के 45 days पहले your client approaches you, or you approach your client telling them that your policy is not good, your insurer is not good, or your policy is not up to the mark to the what is available in the market. Then basically you get a portability form filled, you get a proposal form filled, you get all the details of all the claims that have happened in the existing policy, you get all the details of all the diseases that have happened in the existing policy. You also get details of all the pre-existing diseases reported in the existing policy, all this, and you go through paperwork, take it to the new insurance company and submit it. The insurance company then actually has to, on its own independent level, go and talk to the previous insurance company and ask for information to validate whatever has been declared, right? All this has timelines. Like for example, the regulation says that the new insurer has to respond in 15 days of receipt of all the documents. And if they don't respond once they've received all the documents, then the insurer loses his right or her right to decline the policy, the proposal, right? ये होता है कि नहीं होता है, that's a separate issue, but this is written in paper. New insurer cannot apply any additional conditions, loading, or for the credit that they are given. During the portability time when this regulation had come in, insurers had pitched for this to IDA saying that, yeah, I have not received premiums for the last 4 years or 5 years or 10 years. There's another insurer who's received this premium. I am now taking this and giving credit for some premium that I have not paid, right? I have to give credit, but मेरे को पैसे नहीं मिले हैं. Let me charge something extra so that I can balance the credits that I'm giving against the premium I will charge. So I want to charge loading, or I want to put some additional conditions. IID said nothing doing. You can't put any such conditions, right? So this is something which is on paper, right? What exactly happens? Obviously, people who are here, a lot of people would already know that things are very, very different. This has been the regulation, and this is my view. The regulation has been one-sided. From an insurer's point of view, taking in a portability for someone who has a disease and or has some history and not being able to put a kind of a waiting period on it can be very expensive on the standard premiums, right? So what's happened is whenever insurers will be, or any market player, it could be not even insurance, look at any market player, where the government or the regulator basically puts in certain rules or regulations which do not work on a win-win situation for all the players, there will be chaos. There will be issues because the insurer is finally a for-profit organization. They will try to create their own means, their own ways to ensure that they are protected, their book is protected, they remain profitable, they remain viable, which is actually also important for us as customers or us as financial advisors. Insurance companies zinda rehna chahiye. It cannot be possible that insurers have a free for all kind of a situation and then they die, right? So it is something that is the reality of our country, that a lot of regulations come in without ground reality, and insurers also suffer. And then because insurers protect themselves, finally insurers are able to protect themselves through the rules and regulations or whatever hurdles they put. The customer or the financial advisor suffers because they are the ones who's actually facing the customer, right? The biggest problem, according to me, in the whole portability is one line that is mentioned in the portability guidelines is portability has to be accepted subject to underwriting by the new insurer. Now, underwriting is obviously free flowing. Matlab underwriting approved by the board of the insurance company and filed with the IID and all that is mentioned. But whatever we say, insurers hence have an upper hand of cherry picking the portability cases they want to take and the ones they don't want to take, right? So that's where I end my part of the story. This is what is my take, and I'm obviously happy to learn more perspectives or even learn whether whatever I said, are there any other views about this, uh, and talk about it. I have obviously more questions around this, which I will take up as soon as we go forward. But yeah, this is more or less the context that I wanted to set. Okay, portability is great on paper. The question that we are discussing today is how good is portability on the ground? What are the problems or what are the issues people face when there is a real portability requirement that gets raised? Most of the times, portability will get raised, a requirement will get raised either by the advisor who's trying to pitch a new product to the customer, or it would be the customer because he's unhappy with a claim, wanting to port to a new insurer because he's not happy with the experience. Most of the time, the customer is not happy because he's had a bad claim, and because he's had a bad claim or he's had a claim, the chances of portability happening become very, very difficult because the new insurer basically wouldn't want to take a case where there has been a claim in the past, right? So ये पूरा catch 22 है. There are a lot of complications in this, and hence we decided to discuss this. This is also based on a conversation that Avinash Soni, who's there on the call, and I had yesterday over WhatsApp, where he had tons of questions about portability and the various scenarios. And I said, I have still not been able to figure out what is the topic we are going to take up on the webinar. So I said, might as well make this the topic. So thank you, Avinash, for sharing your scenarios and all that. We were able to figure out the topic for today. Yes, so I would love, Satish Kumar has raised his hand. Satish, I'm going to allow you to speak. Yeah, what are your views about whatever I just said? What is the ground reality? What have you seen on in the ground? On the ground is something that you could share with us. Then I will also call in Manish, Deepak, Avinash, everybody else who wants to speak to share their thoughts based on the rich experience that they have. So
yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mahavir. Well, I have been working exclusively on health insurance products for the last 12 to 13 years. So I've seen quite a few cases wherein after portability guidelines were introduced, we tried giving the portability option to the customers in quite a few cases. Well, I mean, completely agree with Mahavir that portability is to be exercised with utmost caution, because in my opinion, portability is a double-edged sword. We can have both favorable and unfavorable consequences, and as insurance advisors, we need to make sure that we give the right kind of an advice, whether in a specific case portability is really needed or not. And if portability guidelines, as Mahavir rightly said, are not given properly, it could lead to a catch-22 situation, which can even be a paradoxical situation where the individuals cannot escape because of the contradictory rules and limitations we have as such. And many a times, what I have also noticed that while recommending portability, as Mahavir rightly said, underwriting is a big challenge. For instance, someone who has had a policy for quite a bit of a period, now having to declare once again the medical details to the underwriter. And we also see that customers, by virtue of their understanding of a pre-existing disease, someone who has a hypertension under control still feels he is healthy or doesn't have any health issues. So is the case with diabetes. So all over again, we'll have to educate them, help them understand what could be the consequences of choosing portability, both positive and negative as such. And I exercise this very judiciously, to be honest, especially after the moratorium period has been introduced into the health insurance. Now, for instance, someone who has had decent amount of seniority, moratorium benefit, as we all know, allows the policyholder that particular right where the insurance companies cannot deny a claim unless on grounds of the permanent exclusions or a fraud claims as such. So having to forego that kind of a benefit for policies which has a decent amount of seniority and going to a new insurance company again needs to be exercised with utmost caution. Yes, portability has its own merits, but just because as insurance advisors, just because we want to get new customers into our portfolios, giving them wrong guidance may not necessarily serve the purpose, because everyone who would want to have a good career, or health insurance is one such profession where you have a very long lasting career asset. So to ensure that we are there in the business, we need to make sure that there are cases where you got to say no to portability, educate them, and wherever possible, wherever you feel that the portability is generally needed and the customer is pretty confident and the case is very clear, that's when you may have to exercise based on the merits of the particular case as such.
Correct.
So this is
Correct.
this is what I thought I'll share with you.
Right, right. So the point that Satish is making is, and I agree with you, Satish, is that, and thank you for sharing your thoughts, is that it is very, very complicated, and there are a lot of pitfalls, and hence there has to be a lot of care, utmost care taken when someone is actually going through that portability. If you're a client, if you're an advisor, whatever you, whoever you are, there is need for utmost care when the portability is happening, A, in educating the customer, and B, educating the insurer about the case. Right. So thank you, Satish, for sharing your thoughts. I would like to call Manish, Deepak, any thoughts on whatever just was just mentioned by Satish, or any other thoughts on the stuff that we're saying? What has been your experience in the real life, in terms of, what are the problems that customers face or advisors face when, actually executing portability in the real life? Is something that I would love you guys to talk about. Yeah. Yeah. So Manish,
Mahavir, for some reason, your audio seems to be a little down. I mean, it's a little less compared to what Satish was speaking. So, is it just
Acha.
me or everybody else is? Yeah. If you could speak get the speaker or the mic close to where you are.
Is it better now?
Better, yes, yes. Better.
Okay. Yeah. So I have not been holding the mic in my hand. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
reason. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Deepak, for saying that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Manish, go ahead, then
So
I'll share my thing. Yeah.
yeah. So see, personally, I don't have too much of experience in porting, but I just want to share one of the cases which had happened, which is when one of our clients, without our information, he ported his policy from A to B, and then it has been like it was around 3 to 4 years. He had ported the whole policy, and after 3 to 4 years, there was this claim, but it was rejected on the grounds of that the client had not disclosed something. But the client said that when he was talking to the guy, the sales guy or whoever was the person, he had confirmed that he had put it on the mail, and everything was done, but it was not present in the policy.
Right.
So this is one of the cases we came across, and we were not able to like investigate what exactly happened in detail. But I just thought I will just share this incident, and maybe Mahavir, you can say what possibly could have happened, and have you heard about these kind of cases, and what client could have done? Like, what was client mistake? What was the seller, the person who was on the telephone with him? Was it his mistake? Was it whose mistake was it?
Yeah, so my view is that, and this is something that people learn out of experience only, is
Yeah.
that any email or any kind of confirmation, or meaning any kind of assurance given by any person,
This was
in
from
the
Policy Bazaar, I guess. If I remember
ah,
correctly, this was through Policy Bazaar. He did the porting. So
right,
this was a
anybody.
Policy Bazaar guy. Yeah.
Correct, correct. But it could be Policy Bazaar, it could be anybody who's a sales guy. So all of these guys, and I'm going to be very, very brutal in saying that all these guys are sales guys. Anybody who's a sales guy, if he's sending a mail to a client or an advisor saying that, hey, you know what, don't worry, I am there, I will take care of your case. जब claim आएगा ना, I will take care of it. Don't worry, you don't have to disclose this, you don't have to disclose that. Even if it is on an email, even if it is coming from @insurancecompany.com, at the time of claim, they will say, sorry, it was an error of this person. This person has left the organization. We cannot do anything. हम नहीं कर सकते कुछ. Policy wording is the final thing that we will rely on. ये बहुत होता है. In fact, in tier 2, tier 3 cities, there are, and this is something that I've been hearing a lot, is that insurance branches of insurance companies, the branch manager has a very limited knowledge, if I could use a kind word, of insurance, and he goes, because the training is not enough, he goes and makes right, left, and center assurances on email also. Call center पे भी बोलते हैं कि it's on a recorded call also, because these guys are sales guys and they really don't go to the nitty-gritties of the product or the wordings. So Manish, thank you for raising this point. I think people who half of the people on this call would already know this, that but for the benefit of everybody, any kind of written assurance also from an insurance company's executive is not going to hold ground, is my view.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Deepak, you want to add something to this?
So one thing which clearly comes out from what Manish has said, and this is a mistake a whole lot of people, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 people are making, is just believing the telecaller who has called them and getting the transfer done even without knowing, whether it is genuine or not, whether there will be any support or not, whether what he is promising to you on the phone is actually, as you said, in the policy document wordings or not. Day before yesterday, somebody called me up from Lucknow saying, I'm calling from ABCD Health Insurance Company. Why don't you port to us? So I said, I'm in Mumbai, and I did not disclose that I am an advisor. I told I'm very happy with my advisor who has been serving me for the last 30 years. Whenever there is a claim, he is able to take my document, submit it to the company, get it processed, and I get the money on time. How will I correspond with you when you are sitting in Lucknow? Nahi sir, hamara sab online ho gaya hai. We are sitting here passing thousands of claims. Our company is this, our company is that. Finally, in the end, I had to tell him, no, Baba, I am not interested. I will continue with my agent. That is when the phone call got disconnected. So there are times, when we immediately disconnect the phone call saying not interested. Then there are these times where we would like to know how these guys are pitching their products, almost begging and forcing people to port out because I will give you this, I will give you that, which is not there in that company of yours. However, I have a very important thing to share. This has happened with me recently. Before that, I would like to take your opinion, Mahavir, on porting out part members of a policy. So there is a policy in which there is a husband, there is a wife, and then there are two major children. If 2 or 1 or 3 of them decide to port out, what are the rules and regulations? First, if you could put out some clarity, then I will share an actual real life example.
Yeah, so I think most of the modern insurance companies now have mentioned this in their policy wording. So most of these insurance companies, if you look at it, I've been reading policy wordings and
Mahavir, your voice is again very less.
Oh, is it better now?
Yeah, now it is better.
Okay, so sorry about this. So what I'm trying to say is that most insurance companies now, I think, have been putting it in their wordings of how they want to address the problem of porting from, let's say, a floater to an individual or to a floater to a smaller floater, and they have been basically giving clear-cut examples also and explaining all scenarios in their wordings. So based on what I understood is that as a floater policy, if you, let's say, are 2 plus 2 and there are children who have now grown up and they want to move to a new policy, they can move to an individual policy with the same sum insured. They can also move to if they are getting married, then they can also create a policy where they are a floater and get credit for that policy. This is what I have read. And this is based on a couple of policy wordings that I have basically come across. But I think because there is no standard guideline on this, every insurer is basically putting in their wording so that at the time of actual execution, there is clarity. But I don't think IRDA has come up with clear guidelines about how the sum insured will get split. Sorry.
So I'll just share this case with you, and I would like this to, like you and other people, to note this down also. This is almost turned into a fight which is going on just now. I'll just put some background on this case. So a customer, husband, wife, and 2 children have been in a policy for more than 20 years. It's not a floater policy, but it's a family policy with 4 members, each of them having in their individual sum assured into one policy, right? Now, this father had some heart operation a few years ago, and now he knows that he can't port to any other company. He's stuck with this company for life.
Right.
He had a wife and 2 children. 3 or 4 days before his policy is going to get renewed, he sends an email to the company asking for individual breakup of these 4 people. He's saying, instead of we 4 being in a family, we want to have 4 individual policies in your company. Please inform us of the premium payable.
Right.
Now, that wasn't his intent, and I will just proceed into the story a little later. So he gets these 4 quotations from the insurance company via email saying, yours is this much, your wife's is this much, and your individual children is this much. And the reason they are given was all of them are majors. They would like to pay their premium from their individual bank account so that they can claim their own income tax things. Fine. Now, after he receives these 4 quotations, what he does is he transfers only his amount to the company via NEFT, online transfer.
Mm-hmm.
The other 3 people have now ported out to another company. Now, this he hasn't informed his old company. These 3 people have gone into another private insurance company because they got a better deal with a lower premium and a higher cover. Now, as soon as the due date comes, the company corresponds with him saying that you have sent only one person's premium. You can't do this. Either pay for all the 4 or we will not renew your policy. Then he gets back to the company with IRDA circular saying portability mein ye ho sakta hai, this is possible, that is not possible. Both my children have become major and you can't deny me my right to only pay my premium. Company gets back to him saying this is not allowed. Either all 4 of you go and we have no problem at all, or as a special case, we will consider both your children who have become majors, that they want to decide, let them go out, but we would like you and your family to continue with us only. As a special case, we will renew your policy. Otherwise, we will not renew your only single policy out of 4 people.
This is the
Now, if there
existing insurer, right? I'm just confirming what you just said. Is the existing insurer saying that I will not continue only with your policy?
Yes, the existing insurer now is clearly a PSU insurer who has seen a flight of all young people moving out from their portfolio, going to private health insurance companies, and they are now left with only senior citizens and middle-aged people or those people who have had some history of some disease.
Correct.
Now, there is no real clarity on who is right or wrong. Customer is fighting, saying it is my right to take 3 people out of my family. I am continuing with you. You have to renew my policy. These guys are saying, no, we will allow both your children to go out because they are majors, but you have to please continue with you and your wife. As a special case, we will allow you. Otherwise, all 4 of you can go out.
No,
Today is the last day, 18th. Today is the last day of that 30-day grace period.
Wow.
From tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will find this actually becoming a complaint with IRDA. This thing will escalate, and then we will see what is going to happen. So, in a way, at some point, with some terms and conditions, both the sides are right. There is no complete right or wrong over here, saying that this customer has this right to do this or the company has this right to do this. But now there is this standoff. Now, most probably what will happen is company will not process this policy because they have clearly communicated by email. The branch manager quoting circular from IRDA saying A, B, C, D points and you have to do this. This guy is quoting IRDA circular A, B, C, D points and I can do this. Tomorrow, Monday, we will know what happens. This will definitely become a fight. This is actually what is happening in portability. A lot of people are using health insurance portability like mobile number portability, तो बस मैं यहाँ से वहां जाऊंगा, वहां से मुझे ये अच्छा नहीं लगता है तो मैं वहां से यहाँ जाऊंगा. I have the right to keep on moving in and around, and just because he knows that I have a heart condition and no other insurer will accept me, let me continue with whatever basic sum insured I have with this company along with the assured bonus. This is happening today, right now. Today is the 30th day of this case.
Wow. Yeah. So what my reading, and I have obviously limited understanding of this in terms of real cases, but in the last couple of years, but my reading of whatever I have seen is I don't think the existing insurance company can force one of these members saying that if you want to continue this policy, it has to be 4. There is no such regulation which says that let's say a floater, there are people who want to port out, and there is one person who wants to stay put in the existing policy. There is no such regulation which will stop, or an insurer can use to force a client saying that, boss, if you have to renew, you have to renew for all four. Otherwise, I'm not going to give you this policy. There is no such terms and conditions, right? Meaning there are no such
So it's
terms
not a
at
floater
all.
actually, Mahavi. It's not actually a floater. It's a family policy with 4 members of one family
Four
in it. It is
members
not
as
a
individual
yeah.
members. So then, to might
Yes,
as well,
yes. It's not a floater.
in fact, it becomes even more favorable for the customer, because there are four policies. There are three people who are saying that I don't want to renew my policy. That does not,
Yes.
that according to me, and this case is super in favor of the customer, because the customer will be able to say that there are four people, there are three family members who are saying we don't want to pay premiums. I don't want to pay
Yeah.
premium. I want to get out of the policy. And there is one guy who's saying, I want to continue the policy. The insurer cannot force, saying that, boss,
So
I issued the policy because
again,
you
the
four were
insurer
coming together.
has an insurer has an email from the record from the customer saying we have ported out. He's not saying I don't want to pay the premium. If he could have made his case saying all three members are going abroad and they will not be able to claim, I want to continue, probably he was on a stronger wicket. He has communicated to the company that three people have ported out to another insurer of our choice. That is what he has told them.
But even then, my view is that if you look at the overall spirit of portability and the guidelines, and also like the base terms that they've mentioned, where insurer, the IRDA has been very, very categorically very, very clear about the fact that portability, every member insured under a floater plan, even if it is a floater plan, forget that these are individual plans, has the individual right to port their policies to another insurer. So
Yes, that
in
is
this
the
case,
customer stand. That is the customer stand. Yeah.
yeah. I think the customer will win, and I'm not saying this because obviously we are customer centric from that point of view. But I think
Yeah.
even if we take a balanced view, the
Yeah.
insurer is taking a helplessness view, saying that, hey, we are victims. How can you do this with us? But that does not work when there is a clear spirit, and there is a clear guideline which says that, boss, every individual
Yeah.
customer in a policy has a right to port, and it is a right. It's not even like it's mentioned as a right. So
Mahavir, one
thank you for
question
sharing
here.
this. This is a very interesting case.
Mahavir, one question
What
here.
I will
Why
do,
is the
Mahavi? Yeah. Yeah. Manish, just a second before I finish.
Okay,
Mahavi,
okay.
what I will do is I will share the correspondence of the company without sharing which company it is. I will just share the arguments the company has given so that
Awesome.
you get an idea of the technicality they are stuck at. So that I will share with you.
I was going to separately DM you to check that out. Yeah, so I will definitely want to read the argument. It's going to be very
Yeah.
interesting.
Go ahead, Manish.
Mahavir, I have one question. Why does the insurance company in this case want to keep the other senior citizen? Is it not in
ये
their
वो
interest
मतलब
to
एक
keep
type का for so the thing is that it's like so for example, insurers typically want to have a better pool, right, where there are younger people also a part of the pool, as and there are people who do not have diseases and with diseases, so it spreads their risk, right? What's
Yes.
happening with insurers
Yeah.
is, and specifically with PSU insurers, is that everybody who is a PSU insurer, there is a database in the market where PSU
Yeah.
insurers ka record is available, where every private insurer and their advisors and agents are pitching portability. And insurer, like Deepak also mentioned about this, that PSUs are now going to be left with only senior citizens after a certain period in time, and they will
Oh,
have
my.
only senior citizens left, which is actually also very alarming, because what will happen is that because of which their book is going to be in a big soup, and hence premiums are only going to rise, is my
So
view
I'll
of the
tell you
whole
one more thing.
scenario.
I just want to add to what Mahavir has said. For those who are in the industry for the last few years and those who have worked with public sector insurers, it started with New India 3 or 4 years ago, where they overnight doubled the premiums for senior citizens. National Insurance did it last year, and all these four companies every year have done that. So if you are a senior citizen who are 60 plus, if you compare your premium this year compared to 2 or 3 years ago, you are paying more than double.
Yes.
Now, I will tell you my actual case. In the last 6 or 8 months, I have lost at least 6 or 8 senior citizen families who have decided that they are not able to pay this much premium. Now you
Correct.
try and convince the senior citizen people that this is the time when you need cover. You can't decide that I want to stop this policy. They say नहीं यार दीपक घर का खर्चा नहीं चलता. You know what time it is? कौन 70-80 हजार रुपया भरेगा? 80,000 rupees senior citizen premiums in a PSU insurance company for 2 senior citizens having 2 to 3 lakh rupees cover.
Yes, I am paying that
This is
same premium
becoming
for my
impossible.
parents. Yep.
Impossible. The feeling one gets it that these PSU companies have decided that let's make the premium so high that these senior citizens will automatically decide not to renew their policy. So even that we are left with a smaller pool, at least our claim settlement is not going to be that bad.
I think, Deepak, they are also in a soup actually. What's happened is that because every health insurance company, and this is, if you talk to any health insurance company CEO, the biggest challenge that every health insurance company has is to be able to keep pooling in good risk along with the aging book that they have. So everybody has an aging book, right? The book is aging. In the case of PSUs, the book is aging at exponential speed, right? Compared to private players. Private players are able to attract so many good, healthy customers. PSU companies are not able to do that because their agents are now not, very few agents are now selling PSUs, plus they are not good online also. Yeah, Manish, you want to say?
Does it mean that the PSU companies did not do a great job 10 years back, 20 years back?
So
no, Manish. 20 years back, there was no choice. You had only PSUs to go to. All PSUs had the similar policy, and all their pricing was exactly the same. There wasn't even a rupee difference between a 2 lakh policy of United compared to New India compared to National Insurance. ऐसे था. There was no choice.
With the advent of the SAHI companies, what has happened is that everybody, all agents and advisors were able to also take a license of a health insurance company along with a general insurance company, right?
Yes.
And what has happened because of that is most of these guys, the advisors only, have moved, and people like us would have done that, would have moved customers from government insurance company to them because of multiple reasons. One is obviously commission. The other is that better responsiveness, better relationship, better services relatively compared to PSUs. PSUs, my experience has always been there that PSUs, I had to always go to the PSU's office and basically get services done. In case of, and being a pretty large distributor that I was able to, even then, I had to go to PSU offices and get my work done. Exact comparison of private companies. Private companies used to come to my office and get my work done. So when services are aggressive on the private side, commissions are aggressive on the private side, healthy individuals will move from PSUs, unfortunately move from PSUs to private players. New, fresh, young individuals are not adding to the PSU pool, and hence, according to me, and unfortunate, but PSUs will keep seeing hiking premiums forever now because of this, unless someone comes in and tries to change the mix, right?
Yeah. So I'll also tell you one more thing. Up to a few years ago, this was, when Chidambaram was finance minister, some 5, 8, 10 years ago, PSUs, when they were, reporting their profits, it was on a consolidated basis. So if I am National Insurance or United Insurance, I've got fire, I've got marine, I've got health, I've got motor, I have got all. On a consolidated basis, they were able to prove profit. At some time, the government changed this. They said in all your verticals, you now need to be making profits.
Yes.
So if health was bleeding, they were making money from marine and fire. Now what happened? These government told these companies you have to get listed and you are going to become a public limited company. You will have to prioritize each and every vertical, and every vertical of yours need to start making money. That is when the premium increase started, and everybody tried to show a profit in the health insurance vertical. This is what actually happened.
Right. No, so the fact remains that this is only going to get complicated going forward. Avinash, Soni, you wanted to actually speak. You had raised your hand, I could remember. I have allowed you to speak. You can come on and speak.
Okay. Hi everyone. Good morning. So
yeah, hi Avinash.
So regarding the case which Deepak just mentioned, that he was not able to put one of the individuals off. There is still the contention going on. In my situation, so we have been successfully able to port a part, like couple of people or one people out of the either float on or even individual policies from national insurance to other private players. So maybe again, he, uh, we clearly told that okay, he's porting out, but there was no issue from the branch or the divisional manager as such. And we
Right.
are able to continue with the individual who want to, as rightly mentioned, who cannot port because of his health issues or claims. That is one thing. And
The only
Avinash,
thing
which
that I
city are
wanted
you
to
from?
add
Which
here.
city or circle? Yeah, Avinash, which city are you from?
from Karimnagar, it's near Hyderabad.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So just one point that I wanted to add is that PSUs not only have the problem of vertical level profitability, which is basically that, like what Deepak just mentioned and rightly mentioned, that health insurance में profit करना पड़ेगा, car insurance में profit करना पड़ेगा, all that, but also at a branch and regional level they are supposed to achieve
Yes,
profitability.
yes, yes.
So, Avinash, the problem that the positive thing that you would have, basically the reason why you would have not faced a lot of resistance is because probably your branch, the branch that you're serving, would be a profitable branch, and hence they would not be worrying so much or sweating so much about the losses that would happen because of a mix changing. So the good thing and a good tip for people who want to deal with PSUs is try to scout for a health insurance division or a branch in your area which is not stressed or is hungry about health insurance business. There will be certain divisional officers who will clearly tell you कि health insurance business डालना है तो ये नहीं दूंगा, वो नहीं लूंगा, वो नहीं दूंगा, and there will be some who are new branches, or they are basically branches where they have a good marine book or they have a good fire book, like what Deepak said, and an overall basis also they're let's say they are not doing group health insurance, that specific divisional office is not doing group health insurance. Like for your case, Avinash, there is a good chance that your, because group health insurance will not be big for that divisional office, they would not have that kind of stress that way. So new branches, not branches which don't have group health insurance business, would be branches which would be much more lenient, if I could use, or liberal than branches which have group health insurance business or have an aging book.
Yeah, the reason
I mean, I think, yeah.
reasons can be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Any other
the
point,
other
Avinash, you
thing,
have? Yeah.
the other thing, like you rightly mentioned, is that the commission itself, right? Like the reason why private players are able to offer, or why agents want to port people from a PSU, not just because of this, but even because of the commissions. Like as per IRDA norms, portability shouldn't. There should be no commissions for portability cases, but private companies still do provide commissions via some benefits or those additional incentives structure. So that is still there.
Yeah, I agree with what Avinash is saying. This is actually happening in the industry. So if you port to a private insurance company, officially you don't get the commission for that first year, and they give it to you in some form of an incentive or some reward R&R. It comes back to you. Also, I mean, just an update on my case. So just as I am speaking to you today and telling you this, we were actually sitting down with another family who wanted to also do this. This is yesterday. So the workaround we found was this. There were two people in this policy. I told them this year split your policy into two people, two individual policies, which the company is allowing. Next year, simply stop paying the premium of that second individual whom you want to port out. That was the easiest way without getting into any arguments, complaining to IRDA, spending time breaking your head. If you have four people and all these four people, out of these four, three people want to move out, just split your policy from four to four individual policies, which is very, very simple. The company was ready to do that. From the next year, simply stop paying premium for the other three. It's as simple as that.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. It's also about the structure of the company. So, for example, with PSUs, what happens is that every case, the data and information is collected from the branch itself. And because it's done at a branch level, the branch officer basically gets to know as soon as the portability request has come in. In case of the old insurer comes to know. In case of private players, it will happen at a head office level or at a processing office level. And because it happens at that level, there's a good chance that a branch officer, whoever is the branch manager, may not even know about a porting portability case happening unless the policy comes for renewal, and at that time they will come to know actually when the premium is getting paid, and you inform the branch officer. So yeah, these
There
are
is one
like
more
two
thing.
different
Yeah,
worlds.
there is one more thing we need to consider, and this has happened a lot with us. Most of the policies which are getting ported are really old policies. When I say old policies, at least in my case, since we've been working for so many years, there are a lot of people who got like 2 lakh, 3 lakh, even 5 lakh policies. And one of the reasons for porting to a private health insurer is getting higher insurance cover at a substantially lower premium. That is also one of the reasons. The surveys, the cashless facility, and that part is also there. So
Yes.
let's say somebody has a 3 lakh rupee policy and he's moving to a 10 lakh rupee policy. He gets continuity benefit only for the first 3 lakhs and probably whatever bonus is accumulated. For the next 5-7 lakh rupees, there is still going to be those waiting periods or exclusions, or 2 years में cataract, piles, hernia, kidney stone, ये वो नहीं देने वाला है, ठीक है. So there are points at which we convince customers, आपको policy port करना है, वैसे भी नवा लेना है ना, एक स्टैंड अलोन नवा 10 लाख का ले लो, ये वाला 2 लाख रुपए का वहां पर चलने दो 2 साल के लिए. Just in case a cataract comes, or a piles, or a hernia, or a kidney stone comes, you take it from the old policy which has been active for 5, 10, 15 years. In the meantime, this new policy has completed its 2 years of the waiting period if it is there. Simply stop that policy after 2 years. For 2 years, let both the policies run. A lot of clients actually agree to this and get this. This helps, resolve any disputes which may happen going ahead. So this is what we do.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. So apart from this, I had one quick question that I want to ask people on the call, is that on disclosures, right? When a person is porting from old insurer to a new insurer, there are disclosures that need to be done, and there are two types of disclosures that will need to be done. One is I'm talking about only health and lifestyle disclosures. One is health and lifestyle issues that existed while buying the existing policy, and the second is the health and lifestyle issues that have occurred while the existing policy was in force, right? So for example, I bought a policy in 1990. For example, I'm just giving an example. Let's say I bought a policy in 2002. When I bought my first policy, I, let's say, had asthma, right? And I declared asthma in my existing policy, and I took the policy. Now I've completed all my waiting periods. Now in 2015, between 2001 and 2015, I also, for example, had a let's go with something like a slip disc, right? And it is still there. I'm still getting treated for that. And plus, I've also started, let's say, smoking, right? Or let's say I've become overweight. All these illnesses. So first question is, and I'm going to ask two questions, and I will request people to answer this question from their experience. First question is, are both of these being asked and reported by customers and clients, or have you faced issues where one of these have been missed? Like I have seen a case where people have missed reporting about pre-existing diseases that were reported in the first policy, and they have not reported that, and then there have been claims where there have been disputes and a lot of issues. The second one is where there were diagnoses that happened while the existing policy was in force. Like in my current example, slip disc, or my current example, let's say someone becoming overweight. These things happened while I was covered in my existing policy. What happens to the coverage when a person ports to a new policy? Will it have a pre-existing disease exclusion for 4 years because I'm reporting a disease that happened during this policy in the last 4 years based on the PED definition? Or all these diseases that occurred while I'm being in the existing policy will get covered seamlessly in the new policy, right? My view is all the diseases, pre-existing diseases, if the waiting period is over, and the diseases that happened while the new policy was in force, all these diseases will be covered if 4 years have been completed in the existing policy. Pre-existing diseases that were reported while buying the policy will require a 4 years waiting period, or 3 years, whatever is the waiting period. And the diseases that happened while I'm being enforced in the policy will get seamlessly covered in the new policy. But what is happening on ground is what I would like to hear. And what is the experience that you have had when such policies were issued? Rohit, I'm going to allow you to speak.
So in my experience, what I have noticed is that if you declare something which has happened after taking the current policy, insurers are applying a waiting period or a loading on it.
Okay. Okay. Which is, in my view, based on the spirit of the portability guidelines, it is not something that should be the case, because while you are offering portability, what you are offering is a seamless coverage to the person from one policy to another for all the diseases that have occurred, or otherwise, in my view, and this is my view and also my interpretation of the guidelines, and this is something that in fact Avinash and I were talking about yesterday, is uh, in my view, because the spirit of the guideline, by the spirit of the guideline, the customer should have got full coverage for all the diseases, including the diseases that have occurred while the policy was in force. But you're saying that is not true. On ground, insurers are putting PED exclusions for diseases that occurred in the previous policy.
So I think this is still a very, very gray area. I mean,
Okay.
at times insurers are putting it. There are times when, so one insurer would do it, the other one will not do it.
Right, right. So
So
it is
still a
basically convenient interpretation done by some insurers, is what you're saying.
correct.
Okay. Anybody else has any experience around this?
So I just add a little bit of thing to this portability. When portability started, most health insurance, the company you are moving to, asked for last 4 years copies of your policies. One, to ensure that at least that policy was 4 years old. Yeah, and second, if there was a claim, there were some insurers which used to. So let's say you are taking a new policy and there was some sort of existing disease, blood pressure or diabetes or whatever. It was mentioned in the policy document, so you can't skip it. It's there printed on the policy document. Or if there was a claim, there was a way to find out a claim. Let's say you had a 10-year running policy and your sum insured was 5 lakh rupees. You have accumulated bonus of 2,50,000 over a period of 10 years, which means there has been no claim in the policy. However, if there has been a claim, there is going to be a proportionate reduction in the bonus. That was another way you could find out कि कभी ना कभी तो claim हुआ है. Now what has happened is, new health insurance companies, most of these private ones, they are accepting portability on last 1 year's policy also. वो 4 साल का नहीं मांग रहे, लास्ट ईयर का पॉलिसी दिखाओ एंड देन वी विल पोर्ट यू टू आवर कंपनी. नाउ वेदर दिस इज बीइंग डन टू अचीव टारगेट्स और टू शो कि हमने इतना पूल कलेक्ट किया है, दिस इज अ प्रीमियम वी हैव कलेक्टेड, दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच वी शुड प्रोबेबली ट्राई एंड अवॉइड और नॉट डू, और इंसिस्ट की मेरे से तो चारों पॉलिसी लियो अगर तुम्हारे पास लास्ट 4 साल पॉलिसी का है.
Deepak, my view about this is that most insurers now, because after portability, and correct me if I'm wrong, have started putting two dates in the policy schedule. One has been the expiry date and renewal date, obviously. The other has been the policy initiation date, like from how many years is the policy in continuous cover, is now mentioned even in PSU policies, even in private
Yes.
policies. So that, in fact, is a good validation of how many years has this
Indicator.
person
Yes.
been covered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why maybe insurers who understand this are not
Yeah.
asking for 4 years copies, and it is also very inconvenient for a expired policy to be, because you are asking a customer to fetch out a policy which is
Yeah.
expired. And it has, in fact, TPAs used to ask this in the time of claims in the past also.
Yes.
Yeah.
They still ask.
Wow. Yeah, MP, you have to say something. I have allowed you to speak. You can please unmute yourself and speak.
Thanks, Mahavir. And thanks for all the helpful and simple content all through, right from the very first PDF. So I had a question here. My wife and I we were having a health insurance policy through our company where I was an employee for about 4 years. And that was merely about 5 lakhs. Now, then I ported that to an individual policy, increasing the sum to about 8 lakhs. And then I bought a top up of about 40 or 60 lakhs from another super top up insuring provider. Now, what you just mentioned, then whenever you are adding or increasing the base the base coverage. So the group insurance initially covered us for 5 lakhs. I got that to 10 lakhs. And then I added another 40 lakhs as the super top up. Now, nowhere on the company is there a simple table which shows that, hey, myself that
Yeah.
at what levels am I covered and which ones during my upgrades, whether it was from the initial base of 5 lakh to 10 lakhs, now
Yeah.
this is not covered. And then from the super top up, all these things are covered. Is there any simple tool where I can at least come to know? Because the more I read about it, the more I understand that how exposed we were all this while.
Yeah, so if I've understood your question right, MP, what you're asking is that based on the transition that you made from or migration that you made from one insurer to another insurer, the waiting periods for the additional sum insured are different, and the existing sum insured that you had, the base sum insured was different. You are right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, are facing a problem of understanding what is the sum insured linked waiting periods you have. Like for let's say the first 5 lakhs, what is the waiting period? For the remaining upgrade, what is the waiting period? Is that your question?
Yeah, so for the first 5 lakhs, I have completed all their cycles because I was with
Right.
my initial company for 4 years. And
But
then
your question is that based on the split of the cover that you have, are you saying that you are not able to get a clarity on record of what is the waiting period for each of these split sum insureds that are all put together your cover? Right? Is that your question?
so okay, so maybe I didn't put it correctly. One is for 4 years, I had a 5 lakh cover. Okay.
Right.
Now I
Which
left
is a
that
group
company,
policy.
my
Right.
group policy. I left that company. But what the agent told me is कि आप इसको port करा लो individual पे, तो at least आपका cooling benefits maintain रहेगा. So I did that.
Correct.
Then I'm in the second year of that ported policy. While it is the same company, but they still call it porting from group to individual.
Yes.
Point
Yes.
one.
Yes. It is.
Okay. So then what he said, all your waiting cooling periods will be honored because you're still with us. So that was for 5 lakhs. But still, I don't have a print email from them, which I've asked them multiple times that you tell me in print that everything remains as is. They just sent me a new policy with all the wordings and all of that, but there was no clarification for the simple question that everything remains as is. So, point one, group to individual porting with the same company. Point two, I made 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. Again, no clarity. And then third, I added a super top up of 40 lakhs. So now I'm on a 50 lakh cover with the dilemma कि मुझे कौन कितना कहाँ cover कर रहा है.
So can I come in? Yeah, Mahavir?
Yes. 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 I was just going to say that. Deepak, would you like to help?
Okay, so is your super top up with the same company as the base insurance policy?
No, sir.
Okay, so now this is going to be a small issue, but let's keep that aside. You clearly have a 5 lakh rupees cover which is 4+ years old, right?
Right.
And you now have a existing 5 lakhs upon that 5 lakhs. You now have a 10 lakh base cover policy which is now into its 6th year, right?
Correct.
4
2
plus
years
2.
complete.
Correct?
2 years completed
Correct.
post porting.
Correct. Do you have any health issues?
Nothing in the past 9 years.
Wonderful. So now I don't think you even need to be bothering about kya milega ya kya nahi milega. The fact that you have no health issues and your first 5 lakhs is more than 4 years old and your rest 5 lakhs is now in the second year. It's the 6th year, right? Once you complete, everything will move out. Most new companies, most new policies will have a 2-year waiting period for common diseases, which I mentioned previously: cataract, piles, hernia, kidney stone, gallstones, knee operations, and a few defined diseases are there. So for that extra 5 lakh which you have, don't need to worry. अगर इसमें से कोई भी disease होता है, if anything one of these happens, the expenses are not going to cross 5. So your base policy, which is more than 4 years old, is going to take care of that. So I think you are very, very reasonably well placed. What is the deductible on your super top up?
वो मुझे देखना पड़ेगा.
I think
खाली
हाँ, देखना
downside
पड़ेगा.
यही है कि ये policy मेरी wife और मेरा दोनों का साथ में है. 5 was for the 2
No,
of
doesn't
us.
matter. Doesn't matter, no problem at all. As long as of both of you entered together and the continuity for you is together, you don't even need to worry about anything. Everything is in order. Most of the times when people buy a super top-up policy, and this is, I think, a discussion which happened last Saturday, but I was traveling, so I couldn't join in. All I'm trying to tell you is, if you have a super top-up policy, try and buy it from the same company which you have your base policy. It is always better. If you don't have, if that company doesn't have, forget it. Then you have to go somewhere else. Second, buy it as close as possible to your base policy. Third, whenever you are buying a super top-up policy, there is always a predefined deductible which is defined, which means the super top-up comes into play only after that much expenses have either been paid by you or have been taken care by the base insurance policy. Just find out how much is the deductible in your super top-up policy. Most probably it will be 5 lakh rupees, because if you bought it from one agent, I'm sure he must have arranged it in such a way that there is going to be no confusion. So I think you are reasonably well placed. You don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah, one more additional point
Thank
is that MP, the whole portability thing is about credits of waiting periods, and there are two
Yeah.
waiting periods that you will have. One is pre-existing disease ka waiting period, and the other is for the waiting period that Deepak mentioned, which is for the specified illness. In your case, only the specified illness waiting period matters. Pre-existing disease waiting period does not matter to you at all, because whenever you have bought these policies, you had no existing diseases. So you
Yeah.
don't have a waiting period for existing diseases because there are no existing diseases, right? You
Yeah.
have only
Yeah.
the 2-year waiting period, which you have crossed for the first two policies, and hence you are like done with it. You have no issues.
Yeah.
Anybody else
Yeah.
has any question quickly?
Got it.
We've already crossed our
Yeah.
time. Anybody
Yeah,
else
so,
wants to share any pitfall, any
just,
problem? Yeah, Avinash.
So I just wanted to add a little thing on the previous question. No, I think the question there was that although the portability has been done, right, and the now the person now the policyholder understands that there are no waiting periods for him, but that has not been written on the policy bond.
Correct. Yeah. So there is a
That is my concern.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Right.
Rohit.
So-
That is exactly
Yeah.
my concern. I have put it on email, called them up, and I said, I need written
I
clarification.
agree to you. I think there is some, even I feel so, because when we do portability, I find this thing that some insurers do mention that that there is a waiver of section this under your policy. However, some insurers are not doing so. Right.
Yes, so
My
there
view
are
on
two
this is
different-
maybe if
Yeah.
IRDA does more than standardizing the policy word, rolling out standardized policy, if they probably work on standardized forms and how a policy should be, or a standardized policy format, that will be more helpful for maybe the clients, advisors, everyone.
Yeah. So there are two problems that we are talking about here. One is the problem whether he is covered or not covered. So that's where the assurance of that he is completely covered. The other problem is we are talking about insurers changing their policy schedule and ensuring that there is a clear, transparent information that has been disseminated by them to their customers about what is the coverage, what is not the coverage. That unfortunately is not standardized, like you rightly pointed out, Rohit. What is important is, and that's what I started off the discussion with, is this is kind of an industry problem, and that I think it's a good point that you made. Right now, the thing not being in record is not going to result in the person not getting a claim. It's just that it's not very, very clear, and that is a matter of discomfort, obviously, that anybody would have. That needs to be changed, but obviously, insurers are right now, there is no standardization, so it's not happening. Yeah.
So the
Avinash,
only
you
thing
had-
that can be said is that most insurers are, standard. They have a standard policy document, standard policy wording. That is what they are sending to you. The fact that you have communicated with them, telling them, please give me, and if you have those email correspondence in record, tomorrow if there is an issue, you can always get back to them and say that, see, I was asking, you never told them. The idea is not to get into fights and arguments and जहां पर हम लोगों को तकलीफ होए with our own existing insurer, where I do not want to now continue with this company going ahead because they did not listen to me or they did not satisfy me. However, as he said, he said that there are some insurers which are now actually printing this, which is good. I think Most insurance companies need to realize that they need to be proactive in listening to their clients. It is not only about sales targets and number of policies sold and this is the benefit I'm giving. Listen to what your customer is asking you, modify it, and be able to answer and satisfy him. I think with the coming of fintechs, fintechs are coming and they are disrupting everything. Probably some fintech will come in the health insurance space and make everything like this customizable as per the customer's need.
Correct.
Then these guys will wake up.
Yeah, I agree with you. Avinash, you had a point to make. Anybody else who has a question, please raise your hand so that you can ask your question. We'll continue for another 6 minutes. Also, keep your answers a bit more brief so that we can kind of
Yeah,
cover more
so
points.
the question was what you asked, right? I just want to know from experience of all the other members here,
Yeah,
if they were able to port out a policy for customers who has an issue while the existing policy was in force, like you mentioned, the disk slip or
Yes.
those kind of issues.
Health
And
conditions
how
that
was the
happened
waiting
during
period?
the policy, were they
Yes,
covered
yes.
in the new policy seamlessly? Yes. Have people experienced that? Rohit basically mentioned that some insurers are doing it, some insurers are not doing it. According to me, like I said, by the spirit of the guideline, it is very clear that insurers will have to give it, right? But wherever it is not being given to your client, according to me, we need to contest it and we need to take it up, saying that there is no such guideline which says that all the diseases that have occurred during the policy have to be put in PED. Anybody else has any experience about this who would like to share about diseases that happened during the policy and have to be ported? Were they covered or not covered? My reading, like I've been saying, and I'm repeating it, is that it has to be seamlessly covered. Otherwise, the whole effort of moving will basically, and the whole spirit of the portability guideline is not being met.
Well, I have an experience to share with you, sir. I'm Satish
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
As rightly said by one of our participants, there is no standardization. Few insurance companies have been following it, and few are trying to give their own excuses. In one of the interactions that I had with a leading, general insurance company, I wouldn't want to take the name though. They said quite obviously when we go for a portability, the diseases that would have started in the interim period will have its own waiting period as per the policy terms and conditions. So that actually kills the very spirit of the portability asset. So there is no standardization. Probably we should probably expect the IRD also come up with some standardization guidelines to make sure that this goes as seamless as possible. So.
Right. Yeah. So this is a real problem, and I think rightly pointed out by Avinash. And the inconsistencies, because obviously insurers are using their own interpretations without any standardization available. If there are no questions, I will just summarize our conversation or the learnings that I was able to do achieve. One was that I think what Manish mentioned, and something that is very, very important, is we should educate our clients and keep them updated about what are the constraints in portability, what are the things that they will get in portability, what are the things that they will not get in portability. There could be a call center call that they would get, and they could get lured into buying something that actually could be against their favor, like not in their favor, right? So even existing clients, my suggestion, and this is something that I am going to put in place on our platform, is that we should educate our clients about the pitfalls in doing a portability and the issues that people could actually face when portability is done, right? And they don't get become a prey of some call center who's calling them and luring them to do something which will in the end not be in their favor. Second is PSUs. The discussion we had around the constraints that PSUs have and movement of policies from PSUs to outside world. There have been a lot of constraints people are facing. In my view, what I have seen is because the book of PSUs is becoming very, very is aging at a very fast rate. premiums are going to go up very fast in the long run, because they will be going and getting listed, and plus there will be a lot of pressure from Ministry of Finance also. Based on that, if I were a financial advisor today, I would move all my business of all younger folks immediately to private players. It's not a recommendation. This is what I would have done. I think one more point that we made, and this was a wonderful learning that I had, is part quoting of a policy and the constraints in the part quoting of the policy, which Deepak shared with us. Then another learning was around parallel policies. Is instead of buying a 50, let's say having a 5 lakh policy, porting it into a new insurer and making a 15 lakh policy there, you let the 5 lakh policy remain, buy a 10 lakh policy, and basically gradually, once the waiting period of the 10 lakh policy goes down, you phase out the old policy instead of going for portability. That's for younger folks, that can be done very easily. The last point and the most important 2 points were around diseases occurred during the existing policy. And this is something which is subject to interpretation, no standardization, which is rightly pointed out by everyone on the call. I think this is something that maybe all of us together, maybe you can do a kind of a letter to IRDAI if everybody is interested in this, and send it to them, requesting them to give a clarification with this. I think it's a very interesting thing and can have a lot of ramifications, lot of impact on a lot of people. Last is voting on record. I think again a very good point made by MP and Rohit, seeing that the exact coverages, waiting periods based on which sum insured, what is available, what is covered, not covered, should be a part of the policy schedule. Standardization obviously would be the most ideal, but at least if there is no standardization, every insurer should endeavor to give that clarity to their customers about their coverage and how for each sum insured upgrade, what is the kind of coverage they have and what are the waiting periods for each of them. That's my learning. Anything else anybody else wants to talk about? Last words. LK, I'm allowing you to speak. LK, is there any constraint you want to talk about, or is there any input that you would like to share? Hello, I've allowed you to speak, LK. You can speak. Unmute yourself and speak. I think you must be speaking on mute.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. So, few points which I want to make regarding this. So, we have not discussed regarding if someone has taken a claim in past year. For example, he is running a policy for past 5 years, and he has taken a claim in past 5 years or recent years. So, if he wants to quote the policy, none of the insurers always declines that case. So,
Yes.
we have not taken. So, this
We
is the big
discussed this
issue because.
actually. Yeah. So when I began, I talked about the constraints of underwriting and how insurers are obviously underwriting cases, and wherever there is a chronic disease or there is a claim history, insurers are not. It is not as good as it is on paper. It's very difficult for people who have a disease or are very old to get portability. Yeah.
And second thing is regarding increasing sum insured. For example, I am running a 5 lakh base sum insured policy, and I want to quote and increase the sum insured to 10 lakhs or take a top up. Then even in the case of quoting, if the history is not, for example, someone has taken a claim or someone has a pre-existing disease, the insurers outright reject that. Maybe they may quote that policy, but they don't increase the sum insured. That's a big issue.
Yeah, so you have to, in my view, LK, and I'm going little fast because we are out of time. My view, we'll have to take a balanced view about the whole thing. It is finally about an insurer also taking up liability of lifetime healthcare of an individual, right? Insurers not upgrading a cover is something which happens even in existing insurers. Like if I am an insurer and I am now upgrading my cover, let's say I never had diabetes and I have a cover from X insurer, which is a leading insurer in the country, and now I am asking for an upgrade, I will have to fill a proposal form, and based on the underwriting, insurer may reject upgrade. So at the same time, on portability also the same thing will happen. I think we have to take a balanced view about this, that insurers are also here to assess cases and take up liability which they think they can viably approve and take, so that they can pay claims in the future. In cases like such, where there is an upgrade, insurers do have the right, existing insurers, quoting insurer, every insurer has the right to reject upgrade, and they are private for-profit companies which will be able to do that.
And
I
just
think
want
what
to share.
Mahavir said in the last sentence is very, very important for everybody to understand. Even though IRDA is allowing you to port, it's not an absolute right. Try to understand that insurers are here to make money. ये धर्मशाला नहीं है कि कोई भी आके रह सकता है फोकट में सुबह को और रात को 2-4 दिन रह के निकल जाओ. Everybody, finally, it's a business. So, as he said, a balance has to be maintained somewhere. However, there is actually a very, very small way out. Most of these health insurance companies, if it is a new company, it's a 1 year, 2 year old company, they haven't built a book. These companies tend to take risk higher than what other established companies are ready to take. So if you can work out, and there is a new health insurance company, it's a new brand, it's offering you something which is attractive to you at a reasonable price, you can look at that. However, having said that, ye sab ghuma fira ke, go through finally an advisor who will be there for you when you need him or her at that time.
Mahavir, one more thing regarding this.
Right.
Yeah, so when we do mobile number portability, so here we are, the previous telecom operator, they give a UPC code or something like UCC code. So you get a notification, previous company gets a notification regarding that if someone has ported that number. But in case of health portability, there is no option. For example, someone has ported, I have given a policy and someone has ported, so even I don't know about that, unless and until I ask from customer. So I think there it has to be there some notification regarding that someone is porting or someone has ported. So I think it's a big, because unless and until I can like pitch that customer that it's not right for you, someone from the call center of Policybazaar or some other broker has like called them and given some information. Even I don't get any intimation regarding that.
Right. Yeah. So the technology, obviously, as an industry, we have always been laggards, and that's true. These things are obviously not implemented, but most smart insurance companies that I am aware of, if there is a portability request, they do inform the existing insurer will inform the client and the advisor. Actually, the not the client has initiated it. The advisor saying that your policy has come for portability. Are you aware of it? Obviously, there will be
No such
PSU
thing
companies.
happens. Yeah.
I have had experience, LK, in my life,
Yeah,
where I
okay.
have
I
had
also have it.
insurers who have come and told me that your policy is getting ported. Are you aware of it? So PSUs definitely will not inform because they themselves are actually not informed sometimes. But there will be cases where the advisors are informed by the branch office. There is a proper system because they want to protect their business also. Yeah, I think Avinash wanted to say something.
Yeah, I am being informed by my existing insurance
Yeah,
about
exactly.
porting cases.
Yeah, because everybody wants to protect their business, right? So they will say, "कि यार ये जा रहा है customer. Are you aware of it? Are you doing it or the client is doing it?" That conversation does happen. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? I think, or anybody else wants to make any point? We are always crossing our time. I think we're having very juicy topics to discuss. I'm always enjoying it, so I'm not closing very quickly.
One
But yeah, Avinash.
one question I have is this is just an example. Maybe we can discuss in detail. So I have a customer who has brought a diabetes policy with Star Health 4 years back. So this policy itself is very specific to a diabetic PED person. So
Right.
it charges a higher premium than a normal policy, and he has already crossed 4 years in that. Um, and now, if he wants to port to a normal policy, uh, is it allowed? Again, as per the guidelines, it is allowed,
Yeah.
but uh, from a perspective of like actual practical experience, uh, does anyone have any experience of porting out such policies?
What I have seen, I'll let you know. I've seen people, what they do is they buy a diabetes policy and a regular policy together and run the diabetes policy for 4 years. And then basically, because the main policy now covers diabetes because the pre-existing waiting period is over, they drop off from the diabetes policy. This is what I have seen. But yeah, if anybody else has any experience about this, Rohit, Satish, uh, Deepak, if you could share your experience about this.
No experience as such, but I mean, if the 4 years are over, why would I like to move out from a diabetes policy? Because there are restrictions on the payout.
All
Is that the
covers.
reason? Or yeah.
Get a
Both.
comprehensive cover,
One
actually.
is the
That would be the reason.
premium.
Sorry,
One
sorry.
is there are some restrictions, and the other thing is the premium is like 3x times the normal
Yeah.
policy.
So then there are too many things to be considered. Was it a standalone diabetes? Was it insulin dependent diabetes? Was it a policy which is available because nobody else is giving you? If that is the case, then I'm not too sure whether any insurer will accept the porting in that case. Insulin dependent diabetes कोई insurer लेना ही नहीं चाहता है, बिल्कुल, अगर वो है तो.
Yeah. So just wanting to see if any experience has, because it helps.
I think what Mahavir suggested is the best option. People buying two policies, waiting for 4 years in the regular policy, and after 4 years, stopping the payment in that diabetes policy. That is the best option.
Yeah, but this is a live case that Avinash has. Is there any experience that anybody has in terms of porting?
No, I think what is important to know whether it is insulin dependent diabetes or it is diabetes which is being managed just by tablets, because that would alter the
Avinash,
total
you have-
scenario.
Yeah, agreed. Avinash, do you have any information about that? Is it like
No,
the
no,
diabetes
not-
type 2 or type 1?
No, not.
Okay.
Not
So
exactly
usually what
sure.
Deepak is trying to say is that type 2 is still easier. Type 1 is mostly,
Yes.
my experience I've seen is very difficult.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we had a great conversation. As usual, I got to learn a lot. Thank you for all of you who've joined in. Do check out the new website. We've not the new website, but actually the homepage and a lot of new pages that we've added. And do share your feedback on it. Also, do share this group with people whom can benefit from this. Thank you everyone for joining in and sharing your experience. Bye bye.
What is the topic planned for next week, Mahavir?
Yeah, Deepak. So, any topic anybody has in mind? We are actually. I've been busy, so I've not been able to sit down and think about topics. But if there is any
One
topic that
suggestion could be, difficulty in dealing with TPAs versus non-TPA companies, and how to solve those problems. Since you've been, a part of a startup where, you were doing health insurance, you were dealing with so many companies. Your experience over there and then experience collectively of the crowd could help. TPA versus non-TPA companies.
Okay, but I think at least what I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, from people who are already still there on the call, is it not clearly written on the wall now that TPAs are meaning in-house is better than TPAs?
Yeah, so that is very, very clear, but there are companies who say that we have an in-house TPA, but it is actually being outsourced. ऐसा भी सुना है और हो रहा है.
Yeah. White labeled available. Yeah.
Yes,
White labeled TPA
yes.
is available now. You're right.
Yeah.
Cool, we can do that. Any other topic? I've noted down the TPA topic. Any other topic anybody else has? Satish, Rohit. Yeah, so Rohit, sorry, I'll allow you to speak. Yeah, Rohit. Satish, anybody else also can suggest any
There is
topic.
this
Rohit,
list
I've allowed
of-
you to speak.
So this list of permanently excluded diseases
Okay.
that I think IRD had given as part of the 2018 standardization covers, something like that, I think, or 2020 standardization.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
recall
yeah.
the circular name, but there is a list of
any
about, I think,
specific
22.
exclusion in that, or you're talking about all the exclusions?
Maybe on all the exclusions, because I think a lot of people are not aware of it.
Okay.
So there's a list of
Understood.
about, I think, 2022 two diseases that's been defined, which can be permanently excluded.
Okay. Understood. So we are talking about exclusions. Maybe we could do something on exclusions. Yeah. Makes sense. Cool. If anything comes to your mind, you could always DM me or DM the handle itself. Mine, you can save this number, meaning this user of mine, and please do DM and suggest topics. It is all for common good that we are doing this, meaning it always helps, and at least I get to learn a lot. I'm assuming most of the people who are there on the call also get to learn. So if there is any other topic that also comes into your mind, please do share that topic. It would be great. LK, yeah. You have any suggestion? I have allowed you to speak, LK. You'll have to unmute and speak.
Yeah. So if we can do some session on claim settlements.
We've already done one session on claim settlement. The second session actually we did is on claim settlement. you can get the recording on our YouTube channel. If
Okay.
you can go through that. If case there is something that you've not been able to understand, then we have our forum actually. But if there is,
Okay.
or there is any topic that comes out of that recording that you've heard, then let us know and we could take it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I think we've gone like half an hour above our time. Thank you for joining in. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.